Dick. So what I do, busy man that I am, I got my little audio cassette. Honestly, you can buy it at the store. And I get Moby Dick into my schedule in entirety, and then I become a magnificent conversationalist at the next cocktail party. And here's how I do it.
Call me Ishmael. And so our great adventure begins. Ishmael is time to kill his 40 broke. I've been a trip to sea. Why not first stop in New Bedford? The weather's crummy. He's beaten all the inns book solid. So he shares a room with a Hawkwind hurdling heaving named Queequeg. Now the best of friends, they decide to ship out together. But first, it's up to Nantucket for more clam chowder. Finally, they set sail for 3 long and boring years at sea. Drive 'em out, man. The captain stay with the chowder. Then Captain Ahab appears on deck. He's handicapped, only has one leg. It seems this big fish got the other one. He yells at his crew, "Find me that fish, son they call Moby Dick." That's the one that's big and white and mean. And so the Pequod sails around Cape Horn. Ahab paces the deck. He yells at every passing ship, "Have ye seen the great white?" Next it's up to the Pacific. Ahab keeps pacing the deck as the ship sails on and on and on and on through hundreds of pages of painfully padded, pathetic paragraphs. "Have ye seen the great white?" And then the lookout yells, "Dar she blows! It's big, it's white, it's mean, it's Moby Dick!" They all hop into the dinghies and they row for days, but Moby gets away. Then a typhoon hits. The sails get ripped to shreds and they all get wet. Then the lookout yells, "Dar she blows!" Again back into the dinghies. This time they harpoon the heck out of Moby, which really gets a mad. So Moby munches a few men, bashes a few boats, punctures the Pequod, gives Ahab a ride, and everybody dies. But the fish and Ish.
You recognize John Moschitta Jr. Does anybody do it better than this talented fella? And we've got pots and pans for you today. Now, this happens to be an audio tape. But guess what has happened to high-tech America? The videotape. You can buy now a videotape that will teach you to do everything. We have no sex tapes on this show today. You'll be pleased to know. Look who's here. This is Grave Digger Dare. He's got a video. He's in he's under
Hi, Phil.
How you doing? He's wearing a pillowcase because he's semi-retired, which means that he wants to protect his identity. He tells you what the automobile dealers don't want you to know. And he's got a music video in which an actor plays him. Let me just show you a piece of this music. It's not a music video. It's a regular video. And here's the actor playing Digger and giving the guys who don't know about it from buying a car how to save some money and not get taken. Just a piece of it. Roll the tape.
There are 3 kinds of salesmen. There's the new guy who doesn't know anything. Well, he's so dumb, he's brilliant. He'll sell the worst piece of garbage on the lot for full price because he's too dumb to know any better. The next guy's always been my favorite. He's the old shooter salesman. Now, you don't want him either. Now, he's the guy in the white shoes and the purple sports coat who never listens to you. He just keeps spouting numbers.
Now, how do you know a dummy from a shooter?
Dummy's not going to have any business cards. He doesn't know anything about the merchandise, and he'll be real energetic, usually a young guy. Now, the old shooter, he's going to have the ornate business card with eagles on them, gold encrusted. He's going to greet you with, "Well, what are you buying today?" Now, stay away from both types.
This, who should I look for, Grave?
Well, you should really look for the type of salesman who's really interested in what you want. Forget what he tries to lead you through. Always deal from here, not from here.
From the heart.
If you deal from
the
there,
head,
they've got you. That's exactly
right. Let me ask you just a couple of specifics before, and we'll get back to you, Grave. I assume your friends call you Grave.
Grave Digger.
Grave Digger. Grave Digger. Don't buy the rust proofing.
Never, never. Don't buy the rust proofing, the undercoat, and any kind of body sealant. They probably spent $15. They're going to charge you $200 if it's there at all.
I always wondered why they didn't put that on at the factory in the first place. Is this a partnership kind of
It is a
sweetheart?
way for the dealer to make more money, and there is many areas that he can make more money in.
Don't buy life insurance from the automobile dealer.
Absolutely not.
Don't buy, how about that warranty where you sit down and you think you've got it all set, and for a guarantee it'll cost you $200, but
Never,
Don't buy
never.
them.
Only buy a manufacturer's warranty on a new car. Forget the dealers.
How many salesmen makes a good car deal?
About 25 to 30 is perfect. That's the middle size. That's the perfect type of car dealership to buy a car from.
And don't buy a used car from anyone except a new car dealer.
That's right. Most people don't realize this. What happens is simple. The new car dealer has the best used cars. It's a fresh turnover, and at the same time, he gets rid of his clunkers. He sells them to the regular used car lot.
Does the dealer have to sell at the list price? Don't lie to us, Gravedigger.
Absolutely not.
Don't buy a car until you've seen Confessions of a Car Dealer. Look at this. I'm telling you, it's all here. It's all here ready for you, and we've only just begun. Look who else is here. This is Judith Martin, Miss Manners. Here is a woman syndicated in I don't know how many papers around the universe, and she's got a video, and it's on weddings. Can I show you just a piece of that? Let's do Miss Manners on weddings.
If you don't care what people think, you can skip anything you want. Skip the wedding cake, skip the champagne. I'm just trying to tell you that people expect personalized matchbooks and those little boxes so they can carry their cake home. And, oh, yeah, you're going to need a silver cake-cutting knife.
I'm monogrammed with the couple's initials and the date.
You're absolutely right. And, oh, don't forget about your souvenir napkins. See, your guests expect all of these things unless, of course, you just don't care.
I'm not suggesting that these people are just a little self-serving, but they are giving out a great deal of misinformation disguised as etiquette.
5 courses, 3 wines, second cousins. While they're on their honeymoon, I'll be in bankruptcy court.
Unless you come from a tradition that requires that everyone go home with heartburn in order that the marriage be considered binding, wedding cake, a few tea sandwiches, and champagne, or non-alcoholic punch are perfectly acceptable, even chic as wedding fare. Just don't hold the reception at mealtime.
That helps. You aren't, no kidding, a video for those of you who are either getting married or have to pay for it. In that connection, Miss Martin, may we have some free advice from you? Does the father of the bride does the bride's family always pay?
They always fight over who's going to pay. That's not a question of etiquette, who pays. But the question of etiquette is, does someone have the right to say, well, I'm paying for the liquor, so I get to decide this? And all the charming things that people say when they get married. You know, the videotape there was showing people who come in with commercial interests and try to force people who are getting married to spend things. Look at what the families do to one another. It's awful. A bride is saying, you know, it's my wedding.
But it is. I'm still not sure I understand your answer to, I assume there's tradition which you want to see preserved. And the tradition has it that the father of the bride pays for the wedding.
When it is a young bride coming out of her family household, I keep saying the finances is not a matter of etiquette that gives you control. This is not a corporation where you buy so many shares and you get to make decisions. If the bride and the bridegroom pay for it, their parents are still their parents. And they still are treated with respect and everybody's interest still.
I saw a piece on this tape where you were encouraging the groom to leave the reception.
After a while, that's the new twist in wedding etiquette. The couple doesn't want to leave and makes it very clear that they have no reason not to stay and party all night. It's getting a little embarrassing.
So you
Plus,
think
the other
etiquette,
guests can't leave until they do.
So etiquette obliges the bride and the groom to behave like we fantasized bride and groom should be behaving and get out of here, huh?
Well, it obliges them to let other people go home after a while, yes.
Okay. And if the father of the bride is deceased, then giving the bride away is usually a brother, or, I mean, how, is there a rule of succession? What would Alexander Haig say about this?
He'd probably want to do it himself.
Yes,
the point is that you fit the roles to your family and not your family to the roles. People say, well, you have to have somebody give the bride away, so they go hire somebody, they find somebody. She doesn't even have to be given away. But if there is a man in the family to whom she has had, looks for emotional support.
Yeah.
It's very nice to have him do it. You run into trouble when you start saying, well, we have to have this, that, and the other, so you be this and you be that.
I see.
That's nonsense.
But this piece that we showed of your tape is encouraging. You are here to say on this tape and elsewhere, you don't have to have 5 courses. Are you here to say that a cake and a finger sandwich is going to do it?
Of course, people
cheapskates
are
are
so
getting-
filled with pleasure at seeing these nice people get married that they're not looking for a free meal. You don't go to bankruptcy. The point is that your wedding is gala and festive, yes, but it's within the tradition that you live in. You don't reach for some fancy dream that you can't afford and that makes everybody nervous.
Okay. How many women here hate football? You're kidding me. You really hate it. You hate it because you don't understand it. And guess what we've got for you? What happened to it? Tackling football. Roll the tape. You will recognize Harvey's own Tom Dreesen. Roll this tape.
Blood and guts of football.
The run up the middle.
That's right. I tell you what, the offensive line did a great job of blocking there. Usually we only get about 2 or 3 yards.
Well, that's a good sign. The blockers did their job.
Yeah, and I see that play a lot on television. He gained enough yards for a first down, didn't he?
Sure did.
Well, this next play is going to be a sweep play, and that's when the offense tries to outflank the defense. But it all depends on the blockers. They have to seal off the defense. The quarterback gives the ball to the running back. He tries to get to the outside, but the blockers miss their blocks. They don't seal it off very well, and the play doesn't work. No yards.
Well, it seems a lot easier to me, anyway, to spot what the runner's doing than what the blocker's doing.
That's why the blockers make a lot less money.
And they're going to continue to make less money if they keep blocking like that.
That's Tim Reitman of the Chicago Bears, and here is Tom Dreesen, Tackling Football, A Woman's Guide to Watching the Game.
Yes.
What in your research did you find baffled the women most? Are there some things that are more...
Everything. We did a survey. First of all, you know, I'm a football nut. I'm a sports fan. You know, I'm a comedian first, but a sports fan second. And I'm watching a football game 3 years ago, and I love the game, and I can't understand what the announcers are saying. They're talking about down and outs and post patterns and shotgun I formation, and I got to thinking, if I'm having a hard time and I played the game, how must it be for women who play baseball now, basketball and volleyball, but do not play football growing up? And we did a survey and found out that women said the same thing. They said that they're shut out during football season, that they go to the game sometimes, but then they don't understand it. They try to watch it with their husbands, they don't understand. They don't know what a blitz and some of these terms are. And so we just tried to put together a simple, basic football video teaching women how to watch the game, not how to play the game, not learning the game, just how to watch with your husband, and using simple terms so that the terminology, they become very comfortable with the terminology. You know?
And you find that women are enjoying the game, obviously, more after they learn what a nickel defense is.
Absolutely. When they watch this, this video is selling, you know, it's very hot. And women are coming up to us now and saying, now I can sit down with my husband and watch the game, or my boyfriend. You know, and I'll tell you something interesting that we didn't really realize. Men are buying it for their girlfriends and their wives and learning as they go along. 2 men sitting in a bar, one will never say to the other one, what's a trap play? Their egos will not allow that. So men are enjoying it, I think even more than women, but it's very interesting, the reaction we're getting from women on this tape.
Parents of children under 5 probably know what color forms learn and play is about. It's a good idea, isn't it? And it's consistent with most good ideas. It's simple. I think these come out here. It's simple. I mean, who would think that was something important for a child? It is, and there is a video out now which they tell me young children will watch endlessly. So if you're not satisfied with what your television networks are doing for your child, if Sesame is your last preserve of quality programming for children, here's a creative idea for you on videotape. Roll it.
Okay, here goes.
Oh, wow. Oh, what are they doing?
I don't know. A sailboat. See it?
But that doesn't work.
Oh, what's the ball on the rectangle?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. It looks like a neck and a beak.
That's right.
It's a parrot.
Right.
Oh.
is this? What is this? At last, someone who understands me. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Oh, now may we have that shape you're sitting on?
Yes, yes, take the rectangle. Anything to help out King Louie. King Louie.
You put aside a rectangle, too, but be slow about it. I mean, quick about it.
One more videotape. Learn and play. I think we're going to have videotape stores not unlike bookstore chains. The B. Dalton of video cassettes. We won't have to be able to read to survive. A disquieting possibility, I know, to not a few educators. Martin Keltz is here. You are president of Scholastic Productions. This is your product.
Yes, sir.
Where is it your view, am I overstating this, that the videotape is going to, may replace the book as the center of childhood learning experience?
No, I don't think it will replace the book. Hopefully it'll be a complement to the book. You're just dealing with two different kinds of ways that you can communicate information. One communicates with visual pictures and sound. One communicates black dots on a page.
Right. But we don't, the marketing of these products seems to be inefficient, or at least uneven. In other words, a lot of these products which are available you can't even find. They're hard to locate. Do you acknowledge that this is an industry which appears to be in its rudimentary form now? It has yet to evolve into an efficient marketing enterprise.
Basically what's happening is that anybody who wants to get a theatrical motion picture to rent can do that in any of the 25,000 plus video rental establishments. So the business of the VCR emerging into the American marketplace because people wanted to watch theatrical motion pictures, that job has been done, and those kinds of cassettes are available. The kind of cassettes that we've seen here today, the special interest cassettes, are more difficult to find. One of the advantages that Scholastic has is some of you may be familiar with our book club operation, so you see we're sending books out. We have a mail order way to reach families that have children, so they're in a unique way we can let them know that we have video products. Other people have a problem doing that.
You know, that aspect here that you have to choose between books and videotapes. I mean, etiquette information is available in a book, but I find weddings, people go around and they say, it says here you have to, and they get obnoxious with it. You use the book for its own purpose. You use the tape to sit down and laugh at the problems that evolve, and then you can look up the details in the book. It's not an either-or.
I'd like to ask the football person, how many times do you have to watch the tape before you understand it?
I'll tell you what, now, you would have to watch Sunday football maybe for a year, maybe for 10 years. When you watch our tape, most women are telling us that they, on the first time, they're able to communicate with their husband or boyfriend right after the first watching. I recommend that you watch it a couple times, but we go very easy, very comfortable terms. But I also want to say something quick about this. I have a son who has dyslexia. He cannot read books like we do and comprehend, but he can comprehend tapes a lot better. How many people in this audience here are poor readers? You know, I'm sure there's many.
No, not in this audience.
No, not in this audience. Okay. But a lot of, so these tapes have another advantage that we haven't even discussed here, and that's people who aren't real good comprehending and reading.
Are you there? Thanks for waiting. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Me?
Yeah.
Listen,
What?
3 years ago, I got married, and the wedding was at noon, and it was a pretty big affair. My parents paid for it. And before the cake was cut, my in-laws left.
Well, I'll tell you this. Judith Martin makes house calls on something this serious. Did your husband say anything about it? Did you talk to your husband about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've done that, but, you know, he's from here, too. He, you know.
How many kids? You know, you've seen one son marry, you've seen them all.
Oh, this is the first son.
Let's try and hope that they had an emergency train to catch and so on. But walking out on a wedding is not a good sign. I'm sorry. It's not a good sign.
Especially if it's the in-laws.
However, yes.
Yeah. They probably had to go and, they got a deal on a car from...
That's it. Or the football game was starting.
Are you there? I'm glad you waited. Go ahead.
Yes, my sister's getting married, and her fiancé has an ex-wife with a 14-year-old daughter who we've asked to be in the wedding. My question is from Judith Martin. Should the ex-wife be allowed to attend the wedding as a chaperone to the 14-year-old daughter who is going to be in the wedding?
it is not a good idea to watch someone you once married marry someone else.
Whoa, that was
close. The father can look after the child, the grandparents can look after the child. That puts a certain damper on the wedding to have the previous bride present.
Before we break, John, may I please ask you to share with us, let me just see. Do you have a favorite?
I like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, let's hear Alice in
Oh,
Wonderland.
okay.
John, we're waiting. And incidentally, John, I don't want to make you nervous, but we don't have a lot of time.
I'll do my best. I'll see if I can't work it in here a little bit quicker. Alice is bored because her sister is reading a book when all of a sudden a white rabbit wearing a vest runs by mumbling something about being late. Not being able to mind her own business, Alice follows the rabbit into a hole and falls down and down, landing with a thud. Alice finds a bottle that says drink me, so she drinks it and gets very, very small. She finds a cake that says eat me, so she eats it and gets very, very tall. Curiouser and curiouser, cries Alice, which isn't good English, but it gets the point across. Then Alice begins to shrink again and falls into a pool of her own tears, along with a mouse, a duck, a dodo, a lorry, and an eaglet. After another grueling round of drink me, eat me, Alice runs into the woods where she meets a blue caterpillar sitting on a mushroom puffing on a hookah. Hey, Alice, baby, what's happening? Mellow out. This is Wonderland. So Alice chomps on some mushrooms and the Duchess sneezes because there's too much pepper in the soup. The Cheshire Cat keeps grinning and the world's ugliest baby turns into a squirming pig. Then it's time for tea. The Mad Hat of the March Hare and the Sleepy Dormouse talking stupid riddles, so Alice finds more stimulating conversation in a garden of talking flowers. Next, the Queen of Hearts plays croquet with flamingo mallets and hedgehog balls, and then Alice takes the witness stand in the trial of the missing tarts. Alice's testimony so angers the Queen that she shouts, "Off with her head!" Which is Alice's cue to wake up and face the facts. It was all just a dream, and a good thing, too, for Alice knew nothing of tarts and even less of torts.
John Moschitta. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Would you believe that eating chocolate gives me the same feeling as being in love? It's true, but don't tell my boyfriend. You see, lately I've been spending a lot of time with my latest obsession. New Double Dutch chocolate from General Foods International Coffees. An inspired blending of rich, luxurious chocolate and smooth coffee that satisfies my innermost cravings anytime I want it to. Sorry, Michael.
New Double Dutch chocolate, the incredibly chocolate coffee.
You know, it's funny. Lots of people used to think what made a great raisin bran was just a couple of scoops of raisins. But today, people want more. That's why today's people prefer Post natural raisin bran. Post is different.
Look how some raisin brands hide their raisins with sugar. Not Post. These beauties are naturally sweetened. And taste these crispy wheat and bran flakes. Fantastic. So don't settle for just any raisin bran. Insist on Post natural raisin bran. Today's people prefer Post.
A fine wine is a perfect balancing of taste. So is a fine dinner. Le Menu. Each Le Menu has 3 carefully orchestrated foods, like beef sirloin tips in mushroom and wine gravy, seasoned O'Brien potatoes, and broccoli with cheddar cheese sauce. Le Menu frozen dinners from Swanson. So extraordinary, you dare serve them with a vintage wine.
The problem with some conditioners is that they can make clean hair feel weighed down and dirty, but not anymore.
Introducing the newest salon secret from Germac, clean conditioning.
What a difference it makes, because now all Germax conditioners are actually formulated to leave your hair glossy, full, and really clean. So if you think conditioners leave buildup, try Germac's newest salon secrets for clean conditioning. They'll change your mind and the condition of your hair.
Yes, whose hand did I see? Yes, ma'am. If you don't have a video library, it's cruelty to children.
This is directed to the sportsman. Wouldn't you say your tape is a little bit sexist, directed to women?
Yeah, you know, now, I'll tell you, that's a very interesting point. No,
What do you mean?
I'm glad.
You
In
don't
fact,
know anything about football.
Die-hard football fan.
What's a nickel defense?
Well, all I know is that last Sunday, I was standing in 314 watching the New York Giants kill the Cowboys. It was great.
Now, if you kick a field goal and you miss it, where's the ball placed? Sorry, you missed it. I don't even know.
I just think so. That's... How many...
If you kick a field goal and you miss it, at what spot is the ball placed?
Where you...
This is it, and you'd only get...
Where you gave up the ball at.
Where you gave up the ball in every case. Look at Dreesen.
Yeah.
I'll bet you don't know.
No, yeah, let me tell you. I want to answer that question. I want to answer that first lady's question because that was the key point. We surrounded ourselves with feminists. We made sure our producer, Cynthia Petrazo, who also used to work on this show, and you trained her well. She's a feminist. Lois Hall, the actress that we cast, is a devout feminist. We made sure women were around us all the time. This game, we defend, that because it's a male chauvinistic game, and we wanted women involved in it, and that's the reason for this video, is that women have been shut out of this game, and we surrounded ourselves with women who made sure that we did not do patronizing and condescending remarks,
Over here.
This is for the car dealer. What does to kick out the tissue mean?
To kick out the tissue, well, there is a very simple terminology which to us meant absolutely nothing.
Seriously, you've never heard that issue?
Kick out the tissue. I have never heard that phrase whatsoever.
Yeah. He is in disguise. If you joined us late, he's a car dealer, a salesman who doesn't want his buddies to see him. And he has no. Kick out the tissue?
Well, I'm buying a new car tomorrow, and I was listening to the radio station, and Ima said, go down to the car dealer and tell him to kick out the tissue.
We know the answer to everything here.
I have a question for the football person video. Okay, what I wanted to know is what type of techniques in your video do you have that's going to teach me, because I've been 8 years with my husband and he's been trying to teach me the game. You have a video, but what is so special about your video that he's been trying to teach me? Because I said through
what can your video do that her husband can't?
You do for 8 years.
Okay. First of all, I want to say, they keep calling me the football man. That's where my career is going. I'm a comedian first. The football expert is Tim Reitman from the Chicago Bears, who also was an All-American at UCLA and an All-American on the honor roll. A very bright, articulate man. What the video does, we have also, not only do we have films, but we have a model football field with diagrams. We go very slowly, and we start with the basics of football. When we talk about downs, he says, think of them as tries. Instead of 4 downs, 4 tries to make 10 yards. We explain that very slowly. We explain the line of scrimmage very slowly. Then we explain what the offensive team is and their positions on a model board, and the defensive team on their positions on a model board.
But, you know, what's important about video is that you can go back and watch it again and again. I mean, you can go back to the section you don't understand. You can watch it alone without somebody standing over you and saying, do you get it? Do you get it? You can do it in the privacy of your own home.
Have a lot of patience with you, or is he like, why didn't you understand that? I told you, he's going to get the quarterback, he's going to take the ball, and he's going to throw it, he's going to try to hit the guy, he's going to try to take it and run and score a touchdown.
John.
I mean, I'm sure the tape is going to have a lot more patience with you than maybe I mean, it's taken him 8 years. I mean, give the guy a break. No wonder he has no patience.
John, please go over this one more time for us. Who are you, and where did you come from? And it was the one commercial that, boy, through the roof you went.
Well, basically, when I was 12 years old, growing up on Long Island, there was a cerebral palsy fair a few blocks away from my house, and they announced that they would donate $2,000 to cerebral palsy for anyone that broke a Guinness record. So at first I wanted to ride the roller coaster at Coney Island, so I called Coney Island, and they said, hey, kid, take a hike, you're 12 years old. We are not going to let you strap yourself into the cyclone for 2 weeks straight. So I went home and I started flipping through the book and decided I was going to eat a car, swallow lead pipes, so the next best thing was to lock myself in a room, teach myself how to do the fast talking, which I did. I also grew up in a family with 5 sisters, so getting a word in edgewise. And I know you're going to say that's sexist, but I'm sorry, it's true. And, very sorry about that. Next 15 years of my life, I was told to shut up, and then someone decided to pay me money for it, and I've been working ever since.
But did you go to college?
Oh, I did, but I didn't major in fast talking or anything like that. I mean, I was a theater major.
What did you major? What was you?
Theater. I was a theater major. I consider myself basically an actor. I was a working actor, and then one time I was at a party. A friend of mine was trying to pick up a Valley girl, and he was from New York and talked very quickly, and she looked at him and said, like, oh my gosh, like, you must be like, like the world's fastest talker. And he said, no, as a matter of fact, this guy is, and I came over and did my to be and not to be. That is a question whether there's noble in the mind, some of the things, and I was a very just fortune, blah, 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 blah. And a man comes over and says, hi, I'm the producer of That's Incredible.
20-page paper on the symbolism in Moby Dick.
Not nearly as long as it took me, to read it, that's for sure.
He would be a great turnover man. I like to hire this guy is super, super.
Let me talk to the... Wait a minute. We've got to get the gravedigger in here.
Something astounding about that.
When you buy a car, one of the things you're telling this audience, when you go to buy a car, deal with one person.
Just the salesman. Do not let him bring in a turnover man, which may come under the name as a sales manager or a financing manager or anybody whatsoever. Do not let him bring him in because he is the guy who will nail the coffin shut. He's a pro.
Yeah.
You don't stand a chance.
And the salesman makes no commission on the undercoating, on the insurance,
That's correct.
on the maintenance contract.
Turn that salesman for your use. He'll get his commission. Don't let a sales manager, do not let a finance manager. They're pros.